From Sunday's minimum wage protests at the Gaillard Center to the Peace and Justice rally here at Marion Square on Monday afternoon, Charleston Black Lives Matter organizer Muhiyyidin D'baha has been busy. And in this special edition of Quintin's Close-Ups, I speak exclusively with him one-on-one. Well, Muhiyyidin, it's good to see you again.
Yes, sir. Always, always.
And you, as we were talking earlier, just a few minutes ago, you've been extremely busy.
Definitely.
With the Peace and Justice rally at Marion Square yesterday, to the minimum wage protest at the Gaillard the other day, to trying to get Michael Slager back in jail.
Yes.
I'm wondering, how effective has your message been so far?
So far, it's been wonderful. There's a lot of people that are interested in actually participating in social justice activism, and a lot more people interested in making this world a more just place to live in. Now it's just up to us. My job is to present channels and platforms and opportunities for folks to participate. And so we're being very successful in that way. If you just look at the activism for the last year, especially amongst the youth in Charleston, it has picked up dramatically. And so I'd say that we're very successful in what we're trying to do.
And speaking of participation, as you know, and we just mentioned this, the Peace and Justice rally was held yesterday in Marion Square. And I'm wondering, where were you emotionally with that?
Most definitely. And so that is MLK's birthday, and so those are one of those instances where we still have the triple evils, the militarism, the racism, and the poverty still present. And then us focusing on gun sense just adds another layer to it. It's almost as if we're trying to get out of the nightmare still, and so we're not any closer to Dr. King's dream. So I was a little frustrated, after experiencing this year. But at the same time, to look at the community that was together, Pastor Dixon and the coalition really anchored it. Gun Sense came and supported. John Tecklenburg came and supported. Wendell Gaillard came and supported. When those individuals start to come and support activism and the people on the ground, it's always a good year. It's always a good year. So 2016 should be it.
And speaking of, participation, let's go back even to Sunday. As we just mentioned too, off camera, you were involved with the minimum wage protest in front of the Gaillard right before the Democratic debate. I'm wondering, where were your heart and mind with that?
Most definitely. So that was very strategic. Everything we do is very strategic. It's never so spontaneous. And so the Fight for 15 folks really organized greatly, brought in busloads of people from Georgia, from Alabama. And so this is a national protest now. This just wasn't a local protest. And so we're telling the politicians, if you want our vote, we want $15 at least for minimum wage. And so that was very successful. Bernie Sanders came out and spoke to the protesters, spoke to us, and so there's not such a distance between some of the candidates, Willie Wilson, Bernie Sanders, who are closer to the people, while Hillary Clinton and O'Malley are a little bit farther away. And so it was a time for us to kind of test the candidates' will and to see exactly if they're aligned with the people or not. And so it was successful. Everything we do is very strategic. It might not look like it, but it's very strategic.
And speaking of those candidates, like you just mentioned, Hillary Clinton, Martin O'Malley, Willie Sanders, and Willie Wilson, Bernie Sanders, I was watching that debate on Sunday night, and I was thinking about your candidate that you're actually supporting, Dr. Willie Wilson, and he wasn't there. And I had me thinking, what was going through your mind?
Yeah, well, Hillary Clinton and the DNC have manipulated things, so it's going to be very hard for other candidates to get media play. But even more so, the only black candidate that's registered in South Carolina that's going to be on the ballot in February 27th was not present. I would have to say that her campaign is very scared that there might be somebody that resonates with her quote-unquote black base in South Carolina. If that happens strategically, that'll be beneficial to Bernie Sanders also. So either way, the people win, whether it's Willie, whether it's Bernie, but we have to be able to take votes away from Hillary. And so again, strategy, it's strategic political planning right now, and they're playing strategy too. They're keeping Willie off the stage and keeping Willie away from the people because he will have an impact on Hillary's voters in particular.
Well, Dr. Willie Wilson was involved with the First and the South dinner at the Courtyard Marriott on Saturday. And he, ruffled some feathers when he said something about, marriage is only supposed to be between a man and a woman. And I'm wondering, what was going to your mind when he was on stage?
Most definitely that he's a person that speaks from his heart, that it's not about political correctness. And so while I believe in human rights and I believe that it's perfectly wonderful for anybody to get married that wants to get married, Willie Wilson is having a faith background. He speaks his faith, and he comes from where he believes. And I would much prefer an honest candidate than somebody that's going to try to blindside folks. And so the left over here, we have Willie Wilson speaking the truth, and I guess possibly on the right, you have somebody like Donald Trump speaking the truth. Now, the truth isn't relative. The truth is what these people over here, they really are fearful, and they really believe that somebody's going to come and blow them up, and so they're siding with anti-Islamic kind of rhetoric and racist rhetoric. Over here, you have somebody who is rooted in faith, rooted in Christ, rooted in the South, more so in particular, who's expressing a belief. I, for one, appreciate people that aren't being politically correct, that can speak honestly. And so Willie, he supports human rights, knowing that I've sat down with him, but he won't let go of his faith. And I can't fault the man, he is who he is.
Yeah. And let's go back, I guess, even 2 weeks ago. I was just walking down Broad Street, going to eat. I think I had a grilled chicken Caesar salad from my job that day, and I was going to sit on the steps at the old post office. And here it comes, we want Slager back in jail. And I remember you guys protesting to have Michael Slager back in jail. I'm wondering, what was all that all about?
Yeah, and so to have another non-sentencing, another experience in which we get terrorized by the police force or by officers of the law that are supposed to be sworn to protect, and then to experience watching Walter Scott get shot in the back, and then to now know that his killer is walking around free, that was just, that made us very angry, to say the least, right? But we have a judge and a solicitor who is overwhelmed. Scarlett Wilson is overwhelmed. But that was the reason why Slager's out on bond. That's the pure reason, right? Officer Slager has a right to a speedy trial constitutionally, but for Scarlett Wilson to be burdened by Dylan Roof's case, that doesn't mean that she should endanger the community. That means we need a federal prosecutor or a specially appointed prosecutor so Michael Slager can get his trial done with, so he can go to jail like he belongs in jail, instead of having this free time to be a threat to our community in what he's doing right now. So if the justice system can't protect the community, we are more than willing to try our best to protect our community.
And I guess a couple of days afterwards, you guys protested and basically asked that North Charleston Police Chief Eddie Traegers resign. And a lot of people were thinking, why don't you go and protest the judge?
So that wasn't our protest. So that was National Action Network, and that was something that Elder James Johnson felt like was necessary. And so, we support our community members, and we stand behind our elders. So you'll have to ask him about that.
And moving forward, what's next for your group?
Most definitely. And so we have a citizen review board that we still don't have in place, right? And we don't have a North Charleston mayor that's interested in talking about it. Although we do have 2 city council candidates now, Michael Brown and Virginia Jameson, that might be a little bit more amicable to our work, right? So what we're going to be trying to do is actually have our own election for a citizen review board. And so that'll happen February 27th, the same date as the primary. So as people are voting, we could also elect our own citizen review board, and we could start doing the work of taking in officer complaints, of sitting down as a community and thinking of what policing needs to look like in our community, where mental health might be the issue, where substance abuse might be the issue, where juvenile delinquency might be an issue, and an issue that we don't need officers of the law to necessarily solve, because we have the capacity to take care of our own community. Now it's our time to just do it. And so we're going to hold ourselves accountable. It's about community accountability. We can't always point the finger. Sometimes we got to take care of business ourselves.
That is awesome. Well, Muhiyyidin D'baha, it's always good talking to you. Thank you so much.
Always, brother.
Thank you.
All power to the people.
Okay.